Welcome back. I know I promised you all the next video would include removing the side panels from the inside of the bus, so let me show you something really quick. Unfortunately, I got a little bit behind, had some other things I had to take care of, but we're getting there. Hopefully you can see some of that. I've got the side panels off on that whole side there, but I still have this side over here to take off. So we'll work on those here this week and hopefully get this section finished up. Then we can get all the insulation down. So, that being said, I figured let's chat about the heater a little bit. I know I've done a few videos about this so far, but I've been using it now. The temperatures are running, say teens, 20s, and 30s. And I've realized a few things about this diesel heater. So here we are. This is my Planar, I believe it's a 4D, yeah, 44D diesel heater. And this is the one that I put in the box. You all have seen the video on that. If you haven't, I'll see if I can link it down below. Obviously this one got connected to the bus, so I use this as part of my heating system, but I realized a few things. First, this is not enough heater for this bus. Now that should have been really obvious from the very beginning, but I didn't even think about it. So this heater works great for my rooftop tent, but the tent is considerably smaller than the surface area of the bus. And especially as I've been removing the insulation from in there, and you have a steel tube with a whole bunch of windows. You know, these windows are drafty, they don't seal well, and this heater just cannot put out enough heat to keep up with the bus. So I run it just to kind of help take the strain off of the propane heater, but it definitely is not enough. So I'm sure once I get some good insulation in here, get the walls all sealed up nicely, and get some better windows in it, it'll be a little bit better. But for now, this is not going to do the job. So if you are planning on using a diesel heater like this for construction purposes on a bus, I would say make sure you get something that has more output than this one does. I'm pretty sure, based on the specs that I could find, this one puts out about 7,000 BTU. And again, just not enough. Now, that said, there are a couple more things I'd like to mention about it. So you can see here, I've got this extra wire running up into the bus. This is the interior temperature sensor. I got one of these because I wanted to see if I could improve the cycling that this thing does. So for some reason, I cannot get this heater to turn on and stay on, even if I open up the box. So it's not that the heater's overheating down inside here. So if I open this up and just leave it open, it should be cool enough that the temperature sensor in the heater itself is not causing me trouble. Yet what it does, it cycles up, it burns, it heats up really nice, and then it kind of calms down. So the blower calms down, it goes to sort of a maintenance mode where it's barely putting out any air at all, and then after a little while it'll completely shut down. It blows through to make sure everything is clean, and then turns itself off, and about maybe 5 or 10 minutes later it turns itself back on, goes through a startup check, and then fires the heater and goes through the same process over and over again. Now the controller I have on here is this one, which is supposed to be a power control. So this little button down here, as I showed you before, is to turn the heater on. This one is if you only want the fan, and then this is supposed to be a heater power control. You can see I've got it turned all the way up. Now when you have the interior sensor connected, so this thing, that changes what the dial does to a temperature control. But without that, it's supposed to be a power control. So as far as I knew, that meant that if I set it at 50%, it would burn at about 50% power and just keep going and not stop. But I could not get it to stop cycling. So if anybody knows with the Planar heaters how to make it turn on and stay on, I would really love to know. So I appreciate that if you can drop a comment and let me know what's going on, because as of right now, this thing works well for camping, but definitely not for this purpose. So keep that in mind, and definitely pay attention to the power requirements. This bus is about 40 feet long, I think. It has about 35 or 32 feet from the back of the driver's seat to the back of the bus, interior space. And especially as I've taken stuff out of it, there's a lot of room in there. So I'm pretty sure, based on the calculations that I was able to find, I would need somewhere around 7,000 BTU of heat if I had proper insulation and good windows. However, those calculations are for a house, not for a bus. So I would say for this one, probably at least twice that, maybe 3 times. So if you're going to use heaters like this for construction, you probably need at least a couple of them to get anything done. So hopefully this is somewhat helpful for anybody. I do like the heater. It works really well. I have not yet had any problems with condensation in the exhaust pipe. Maybe it's because it's cycling like that. And I've even pulled the muffler out after long-term use to see if there was anything building up down there. Maybe that was what was causing it to cycle, and nothing. So far, working great, but I just wish it would stay turned on a little bit longer. So I hope this is somewhat helpful for you, and I will see you over the next horizon. Next time, we'll be definitely tearing the remainder of those interior panels off the bus.